It's very simple why he's not number 1 or number 6 or 5 or 4 or 3 or 2. There's other players that have more accolades than he has. That's the reason we all play, is for the accolades of winning. Seth has done a good amount of winning in his career. He's won a lot of different tournaments in his career. He's won the biggest tournament in his career. There's players ahead of him that have done better and done more. It's not a knock at him. It's nothing against him as a player at all. And if I'm being completely honest, if I'm being genuinely honest, I really think Seth did a terrible job of picking his teammates over his years. If I'm being completely honest. Because I think Seth could have won a lot more than he won. And if he won a lot more than he won, he would be GOAT in my mind. I would have him as number 1. I would have him as a top 2 or a top 3 or first. I'd have him above some of these players. But I really think Seth's roster moves he's made throughout his career were so mediocre. For the player that Seth is, with the brand that he has, it's just the way that, because he chooses his teammates. So it's like, he looks at it all as slaying. He doesn't realize how valuable it is. He never really did realize how valuable it is to have that OBJ on your team. He needs that. He always needed that. Because like, he had Mr. Bobby back in BO1. Mr. Bobby was a fucking incredible OBJ. If you guys remember back in the day when Seth won his first event with Mr. Bobby. Mr. Bobby was fucking gross at doing OBJ stuff. When I teamed with Seth, we didn't lose maps. We literally never lost maps. I was one of the best OBJs and one of the best Slayers. He always picked Slayers in his career. And it gave him good results, but he has 30 chips. He won over every damn near get game. I think you guys are misunderstanding what I'm saying here. I'm talking specifically like CDL era. I'm not talking about prior to CDL era. Because prior to CDL era, there's a lot of bullshit tournaments that count as chips. And I'm not talking crazy right now. A lot of the tournaments, I could go back into Wikipedia and go through all of them, but there's probably at least 5 to 10 of those tournaments where there was no comp at them. Nade, you just talking? I'm not talking crazy. Look, just because you guys have been fans watching this whole time, I've been an actual active player the whole time, competing with and against all these players. So I understand you guys have a lot of history and you have a lot of opinion on the way things go, but I'm actually an active guy who played and plays with and against these guys, right? I really think that in this, and I'm only talking CDL era, guys. I'm not talking prior to CDL era. Once he went to CDL, I think he could have won a lot more in CDL. Like, I really think Seth could have won a lot more in CDL if he picked better teams.